Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Haikyuu. We are on episode 10 of season 4, and in the last episode, not really much to go into, because it was all focused around heading off to the actual tournament itself. Most of the substance really came with the third years, and it's not something that is like totally new, because we had it before the Shiratorizawa game. Obviously they had to get through Shiratorizawa in order to advance to this tournament. So the idea is obviously that they're going through the whole third years. It's their last tournament, and obviously the nerves are kind of setting in. Specifically for Daichi, obviously he had like a nightmare considering the whole thing. And also we had Shimizu, who was talking with Yachi in their bath time, talking about how there's not long left and everything like that, and it's kind of a bit sad for Shimizu, I feel like, because like what she was talking about was like, well, I haven't really had anybody that like that kind of relationship that she has with Yachi now, and unfortunately it's come at like in the last half of their year. You know what I mean? So like for 2.5 years she never really had anybody like on that level that she could talk to. It's kind of sad, to be honest. But with Sugawara and Asahi, they're handling it fairly well. I feel like Sugawara's taken up the kind of like keep the spirits high kind of thing, and like not worrying about it. But I'm sure it'll all come into play at some point in this tournament, when they inevitably get knocked out, because there's no way they're going to win it, right? I mean, I'd be so surprised. But it's obviously going to come. It's obviously all going to come to a head at some point, so we're just kind of waiting to see when that is, and also like what the matches are going to be, and who we're going to be going up against. I mean, it has to be Nekoma, right? That is a definite match that will be happening. It has to, just for the story's sake. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I talked about how there was like, well, they said there was 47 schools. That extra one would have been Nekoma, because it's being held at their place, so they get like a third team in there, whereas the other prefectures only get 2. They have a third one in there. And obviously I was talking about last episode about how, well, wait a minute then, one team must automatically advance, because you can't have an odd number of teams without, because if you're going it's a tournament, so you're going straight into a bracket setting. That means that there's one team that isn't playing another team, so they have to automatically advance, and I'm wondering how they're going to sort that out. I'd hope they talk about it in this, if they just bring up like maybe an image, maybe there's one team off to the side. I'd like to see how they determine that though, because it's just a bit odd, isn't it? But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So yeah, we're going to get in episode 10 and see what we get. Of course, the reaction for this show will be in the corner there. It'll be a bit transparent, but you should be able to see it fine enough. Maybe a bit difficult, maybe on mobile devices, but I apologise. It's really the best way I can do it right now. But if you do want to go watch the reaction in full, then you can do, with a link in the description to that as well, so you can watch the whole thing alongside. So that is there if you wish. But yeah, there's nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 10 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go.
みんな開会式では浮き足立っていましたが、昨日の練習の時のような不安な様子はないかな。
思ったより試合の進みが早いらしい。特に初戦はどれだけちゃんとアップできるかが超重要だ。
So they've already played some
東京
matches?
体育館からここまではバスで10分ほどでしたね。
But we haven't even seen like the brackets yet.
ママおしっこ。
早く行ってきなさい。
俺も行っとこ。荷物見ててやるよ。
サンキュー。
ちょっともらうぞ。あ、いや、大丈夫です。何か仕事やってないと緊張して仕方ないんだよ。あざっす。
Oh dear. Alright, maybe not. Maybe they... Oh god, have they got the wrong bag? Oh god!
よし、平常心。
なんだ、忘れ物か。いや、この袋。
God damn it.
と同じなんすけど、俺のじゃない。シューズがない。
Fuck's sake.
では、
Battle lines.
どこかで取り違えられたということですかね。
俺ちょっと荷物から目を離しちゃって。その時としか。すみません。山口のせいじゃねえし。
お前、携帯は？
お、あの袋の中だ。鍵はないっす。
Yeah, now you can
子供が間違 違って持ってっちゃったみたいで、さっきの体育館で待っててくれるようです。
私行ってきます。
Go, Shibuzo, go!
それなら私の方が。私足にも体力にも自信があるの。
Shit hurdles. She's gonna
私
run
はす
there?
ぐに戻ってくるけど、一人になって
She's gonna run away. Great.
だから慣れてね。はい。
This is your job when I'm gone, kind of thing.
試合開始までには戻ってくる。
すまん清水、頼んだ。
清子さん、どうぞご無事で。
It's a great way to like get Shimizu involved in like something like that, right? But it's like she's playing a part, like a part in the whole thing. So
積んできたものは想像以上にあっけなく終わる。空を切ったと思った足に触れた硬い感触に心臓がギュッとなった。
清水さんってもう部活決まった？よかったらバレー部のマネージャーやらない？
その事実を私は自分で思っている以上に恐れていたのかもしれない。いいけどバレー部にはしばらくマネージャーはいなくて、自己流でいろんなことを知った。バレーのルール、審判のハンドシグナル、スコアの付け方。でもどこか他人事。でもチームメイトは徐々に他人ではなくなった。
思ったより厄介そうな天井だな。ここは初めての上にでかい。距離感がちゃんとつかめるまで多少の時間がかかることは覚悟しとかねえとな。
シューズはよ来い。
なんとなくで始めたマネージャーの仕事。もともと
she missed the date. Right now she has to run
誰もい
back.
なかったわけだし。
All
私がいな
right.
くてもただ元通りになるだけだと思っていた。
Such a good manager.
でも繋がなくてはならない。託さなくてはならない。
That's the way it kind of works out. Like it wasn't all for nothing, kind of thing.
それがどうした。私はコートに立たないし、ユニフォームを着るわけでもない。
Still part of the team.
待つにはいられない。
Nice. Sweet.
ここが私の最前線。
Chuck it from the rafters. Get it. Look at that. She didn't even work up a sweat. It was easy. Nice. Yosh!
俺のシューズ。
セレセバガ君ファイトー。緊張で死にそうだからとりあえず声だけは出してこう。
It's the headband crew.
試合開始です。
お願いします。よーし、とにかくサーブで向こうの攻撃を分断すること。攻撃を絞り込めれば対処できる相手だ。
Done the research.
10番から目を離す。
あいつら白鳥沢に勝ってるんだもんな。
そこ考えんのやめようぜ。
代表決定戦見てもあいつらが白鳥沢に圧勝したわけじゃねえ。世の中にはたまたまってのが存在するんだよ。
牛若と当たんなくてラッキー。
Yeah, a bit optimistic, like.
奴らが白鳥沢倒した事実は変わんないんだけどな。
Indeed.
ここにいる全員どこかの猛者を倒してここにいる。そして猛者を倒した猛者もあっという間に消えるかもしれない。
いけ殺人サーブ。
Kageyama for the first serve. Well, they're all about lucky then. It seems that way.
公営セッターの動線、人が工作する場所狙いのサーブ。当然のように嫌なとこ打ってきやがる。
Interesting. Okay.
要注意はやっぱ4番寺泊だな。極力ブロックの上から打たれないようにしろよ。寺
Too far. He missed? How did he miss?
バレ空間認識能力は必要不可欠である。
That's what it is.
それが
It's
乱されていることは間違い
just
ない。
getting to them.
そしておそらく空間の影響を最も受けているのは
Kageyama.
聖地を極める影山くんのトスワーク。
Yeah, because it's that big and wide. Makes sense.
悪い修正する投げ
ちょっとカラスの高校には硬さが見られますね。
ええ、影山君にミスが目立つのは珍しいですね。
カラスのモセットは不調だ。あ、俺
速攻ないよ。レフトレフト。
なんで速攻やるよ。
Decoy. Great at it. Still good for the quicks.
結局レフトじゃねえか。煽ったつもりが煽られてどうする。
What was that? Did he just hit the ball?
ミラクルかよ。
What?
イレギュラーはスルーだ。
I felt like the ball was already over his hands. How the hell did he get his head on it?
もう少し。たとえ割り切ると決めてはいても焦りは来る。だから早めのカンフル剤だ。
今日はただしの投入が早いな。
And he put Yamaguchi
この
on?
大会で俺にサーブ以外の出番はない。
Come on, this is your opportunity here.
心が落ち着くのを待つんじゃなくて、心を落ち着かせる練習をしとくんだ。そのために重要なのがリセットの視点だ。何かの標識とか非常口の誘導灯とか何でもいい。
Got an emergency exit.
ターゲットはエース後方を狙うために通すべき。
Come on, Yamaguchi. We need this point.
迷った。エツゴラスト。ブロックスタンバイ。
Nice. Didn't lose the point. That means he gets another serve. Also, they underhanded that serve, which normally they say it's better to overhand, right? But I guess it's easier to overhand to say. Nice. Yes, that's what we need.
しかし点差は今一歩つまらない。
Once Kageyama's got the feel for it, then the points will start flowing in. Like now, for example.
トスクレトスクレトスクレトスクレトスクレトスクレトスクレ。
I love how it's like he's looking like it's in a grid system. It's just like very mathematical where he sends the stuff, you know? Perfect. Look at that! We'll fucking close that gap now.
お待たせしてすみません。
Sweet. Okay. Okay, episode 10, and we are already starting the the tournament, which was very quick. I mean, I did say at the end of like episode 9 that yeah, I figure like we're gonna get into the we're gonna start the matches next episode, so like this episode just gone. But I figured there would be like we would get to see a bracket system of like the matches that they would eventually get to if they had beat certain teams. I guess it could be a thing of they're specifically keeping that kind of quiet so that it's a surprise when when the teams like sort of like crop up and whatever. But I mean, it's sort of disappointing because I wanted to know what the 47th team would do. You know, if they were just going to get automatically advanced or what. I really hope that they talk about it, but I don't know. So yeah, that was a really cool episode. I like that Shimizu actually got a bit of time, because I feel like she hasn't really, and she's always been very outside, like she likes to say, you know, specifically when she first joined, but that over time, you know, it became like her little sort of like volleyball family in a way. But she has felt like for a while, like she has just been sort of like on the sidelines and like only really crops up with like encouragement when like in like, you know, certain situations, you know, but she's been like very background for a lot of it, so it's nice to actually see her get some like meaningful sort of screen time, and it all like coming back to when she used to like do the hurdles and stuff like that, that it sort of came in handy in a way, and that, you know, when she it would have been a time when, you know, like she said she used to hit the hurdles a lot. She specifically said that to Yachi, but I wonder if it's a case of like she didn't hit them as much. I mean, she says that, you know, see, I don't know, because I don't think she would have any reason to lie either. I'm just wondering if it was a case of like it was the first time she did hit a hurdle, and that just kind of played on her mind a lot, so she just stopped. But I don't know, because it could be either or. It just could have been that, like, you know, if she did truly like hit the hurdles a lot, because it just felt like she was better than she was talking about. You know, like she never used to hit a hurdle, and then in this one moment she actually did. It just, you know, it just kind of put her down in a way, like similar to how like Asahi was down after that defeat against Datiko at the very start of the series, and therefore it was just a thing where she was just like telling herself like, no, I'm not like going back there or whatever. And almost like when she was offered by Daiichi to become the manager for Karasuno's volleyball team, she took it as a, like, not in, you know, like almost like a serious way, but almost as a way to just be like, yeah, I'm doing this because it means that I'm, you know, it's like an excuse for not doing the hurdling and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I like how that just like kind of all circles back around to this moment of like having somebody who isn't a part of the team, in a sense of like she's not a player, and that, you know, she sits on the sidelines, having a little story moment where it actually matters, allows her to be part of the team in a way that's like affecting things more than, you know, what she you know usually does. You know, so it's cool because I feel like because you have the likes of, you know, Coach Ukai there, basically, like, I mean, it's sort of like an odd kind of dynamic, because you have the like for me personally, right, I'm English, right, so generally football is my sport. Ice hockey is my favourite sport of all time, but, you know, football's the one, you know, that is, it's my home country sport, so, you know, I know a hell of a lot like about it. And generally the manager is the one that sets up the formation and the things like that, and the plays and whatnot. The coach is generally somebody who works with fitness and maybe takes can take control of like practice games and stuff like that, though the assistant manager can do that as well. Taking training sessions and stuff, the coach generally you know, takes control of that. What I'm noticing with Haikyuu is that Coach Ukai seems to be doing everything like that, you know, and it can almost kind of seem like Shimizu and Yachi don't really have much to do aside from, like, you know, like Coach Ukai would probably tell them like, this is the kind of training we're doing today, and going to put tape up on, you know, on the net to know where you're supposed to hit your serves. I like how that came back, by the way, with Yamaguchi as well. Like, it wasn't green tape, but sort of Yamaguchi focusing on where he wanted to have the serve, and having the visual of having his pupil directly where he wanted the ball to head over the net. So I like how that came back with the green tape in a previous episode. But yeah, it is one of those things, I feel like, where Shimizu and Yachi have been really kind of put to the side. and it is a bit of a shame, I feel like, that they aren't included as much. You know, because I wouldn't really call them a manager more than like general helpers, you know, which sucks. You know, because it could just be a thing of like the titles are different, like they mean different things across, like, you know, what Japan would normally do and not, or it could be a thing of volleyball managers are just they just have a different job to what football managers do. But I mean, that's the thing, is like they generally, the way that I'm saying it is that Shimizu and Yachi are more help, like they just help with like certain things that you wouldn't normally, like, you know, collect the balls and put up certain things for training sessions. You know, like make sure that they have their like water and towels before, like, you know, when they call for timeout or stuff like that. As opposed to a manager, which the idea is like to manage the team. You manage it, you know, that's kind of the whole point. That's where a manager comes from. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm going into a bit of a sort of rant about it because, yeah, and I mean, I kind of want to kick myself as well, because it's something I haven't really noticed, though I don't know if it's just because it's like, well, they've kind of just been like always in the background, that it's kind of like it just hasn't really taken my notice. But I think that's like the big criticism that I have about it, is that they could have, I feel like they deserve maybe like a higher place. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's just one of those things. But yeah, so I mean, Hinata having his bag switched and having the whole thing of like Shimizu having to, like, you know, like not really having to, but taking sort of responsibility for that, and like, I'm gonna go, and also clearly pointing that out to Yachi, that like, you know, this is what you need to do in order to, you know, to help the team and be part of the team, like, you know, take on this kind of responsibility. And yeah, so she ran for the bus. She managed to make the bus, and you know, if you notice, like in the reaction, I was like, oh, I thought she was going to run all the way there, but I like how they switched that and going the opposite way, where she missed the bus going back, so she had to run back. That was a good way of kind of it being a thing of like, it's not that she's going to be late, but you know, she's going to be like there just about, like just beforehand, you know, because if she'd missed the bus there and back, then, you know, the match might have already started before she got back. Which also could have been a really cool thing that they did, because you know, I said at the beginning of the reaction to this episode that is it like a like Mike situation? You know, so yeah, like Mike, like I said, is like it's a movie based around like basketball in an orphanage, where some kid finds Michael Jordan's like old sneakers, as they call them, trainers, which are, you know, what we call them in England. But you get special powers almost by wearing them, and he becomes an amazing basketball player and ends up playing professionally for a team, even though he's like 13 or something. But yeah, I mean, there was a moment in that movie where he loses the shoes and then gets them back like midway through a match. So it could have been a good way of also doing the episode, and like, you know, sort of having the story revolve around that. That would have been a cool thing of like, well, we can't put Hinata in because he doesn't have his shoes. You know, now it's just one of those things of like, it kind of worked for like Mike because there was some kind of I mean, they said at the end of the movie there wasn't some kind of magic element, but that it feels like in the movie that there was. In Haikyuu, if it's, you know, going more about the less kind of magic-y essence, and it's like, you know, they're able to do things that, you know, in reality people wouldn't. I mean, suppose you can always go for the idea that like Kageyama's just like godlike, and like that shouldn't really be the case. He shouldn't be that good. But, you know, when it comes to like the kind of shoes that you wear, I mean, you know, Hinata did say like, I can jump 5 meters in these. So I don't know, maybe he does have a thing about his shoes. Like, maybe it could be a thing of like, if he's not wearing those kind of like those specific shoes, then he's or those specific, you know, trainers, whatever, that it kind of like puts him off mentally, and he doesn't do as well. You know, even though he could, it's just a mental barrier that he can't get past because he's wearing the wrong ones. It could have been something like that, but yeah, that's all just, you know, what could have been if it went a different way. But I think it served the right. I think the story went the right way specifically because it served a purpose for Shimizu to actually, you know, get in and actually do a job where she is truly needed. You know, which is always good. So that is really cool. And I feel like with obviously this being the last sort of like hurrah for the third years this tournament, like by Shimizu clearly setting up Yachi to be like, right, this is your job after I'm gone kind of thing, that going forward, depending on how long Haikyuu goes, that we see a lot more of Yachi and doing, you know, and maybe bring her to the forefront a bit more. So yeah, I like how it wasn't all for nothing that like Shimizu just stopped doing her hurdles thing and whatnot, and it actually came back, and we actually saw her jump a barrier, which is great. And we saw her legs. So there's that. Yeah, so Super High, that is their first opponent. They all wear headbands. Got to stand out somehow, right? And yeah, I mean, it seems as though their things are serves. And they go on about luck. They were talking about it before, and then when we actually had a look up at the, you know, where they had the like sort of group of people that were cheering for them, and the banner that had said it's about luck. So they have a thing about luck, which yeah, it's not going to get really far in that kind of environment. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, luck does play a part in a lot of things in the real. Like, sometimes luck just isn't on your side. You know what I mean? If I'm going back to another sort of football analogy, the idea of like hitting the ball within the posts is one thing, but if you hit the ball and it hits the post, you know, obviously due to like the mathematics of something, the angle obviously plays a massive part. But the slightest sort of just inconsistency to that degree, considering how fast-paced the sport actually is, if the ball is just 1 centimeter off, the ball can ricochet off and go out, as opposed to go in and actually in the net. And those kind of things are determined. That's just a, you know, is luck really on your side or not? You know, and there's obviously a debate on whether or not it truly is luck, but you know, generally it is. You know what I mean? Because you're talking about very marginal. You know, like a marginal amount of fucking like space and time and things, and just because of how fast it is, like human brains just don't compute to that degree to like slow like time down and like make sure I focus and get the fucking angle a millimeter off just so it goes in. We don't do that, you know what I mean? A lot of it relies on instinct in the faster paced games, so you know, luck is generally a thing that does play a part. Though I have to be honest, and of course a lot of this comes from the fact that let's be honest right here. Karasuno are not going to get beat by Super High. It's just not going to happen. You know, not unless it's like for some reason in this tournament they go like they have legs, that like, you know, legs meaning that you have one match and then you have a second match, and then if one wins the first match, one wins the second, you go to a third leg, whoever wins that wins the whole thing. Or if one team wins the first 2 legs, they win anyway. I doubt that's the case. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be one match, and let's be honest, Karasuno's not going to lose it. So, you know, and it's just one thing of like, luck can only get you so far. At some point, it needs to rely on like, you know, your technical ability and just being better than the other team. You know, so there is that. Now, it did say that like they are about their serves, so you know, we saw that they do have some technical ability, especially in that sort of sense, that they're able to pinpoint exactly where they want their serves to go. So there is that, you know, and whether or not they have like some kind of specific way of serving, or they have a like multitude of different servers across the board, I don't know. I don't know if every single one of their players is great at serving or not, but you know, serves seem to be their thing. So, you know, I'd imagine at least all of them can serve in their own right. So yeah, we had Kageyama, who was struggling to adjust to the size of the space. I like that sort of idea. It puts, I mean, not anymore, because he's adjusted to it, like, at the end of the episode there, he did eventually adjust to it. But it's nice to have Kageyama sort of be the one making the mistakes, because as of right now, all the way up, regardless of like I guess the Datago thing, but the Datago thing needed to happen a few episodes back, where he had to get that out there so that, you know, because the last thing you want is that happening like in a fucking match at this tournament. It's better that that happened in a practice match, so that now they're all on the same page, and if that kind of thing does happen in an official match, they know they can get past it and they don't have to dwell on it in that match. So that had to happen. But having Kageyama actually struggle and be the one like making mistakes in that sort of environment is a good thing to do, because he is generally the one that does not make mistakes. So it's good that they, you know, actually get that as well. And they talked about the occasion sort of getting to them as well, which is a big deal as well. Having like doing something on like locally where, you know, the things aren't as big, you know, not as many people are watching. You know, shit like that. The occasion can get to you, depending on you know if you're working in a sort of competitive setting. You know, I did that with not to a massive degree with football, but I did go to a athletics tournament though, and that was like a thing of like people from all around the country. So that was a big deal. You know, and it's I'd say it wasn't to the same degree as like this and what they're experiencing, because with running's one thing, right? You might feel some nerves and you get them like in your legs, and that can happen kind of thing. But when you're talking about like doing things technically and like, you know, when you're running, it's an easier thing to do. So it's not on the same degree, but it's still one of those things that it can feel a bit like weight on your shoulders in a way. So yeah, depending on where you are, like the occasion can really get to you. They say like stuff in stadiums and stuff, and bring it back to football again. There's a team called Liverpool who's in the Premier League, and they are like notorious for having their home stadium be like loud, because their home crowd are like, you know what I mean, they don't stop. Newcastle, the team that I support and I live very near, that's another sort of team that has a massive fan base that, like, you know, they never stop. And you know, you have these sort of things, these stadiums that teams don't like to go to because they feel the weight of that pressure and stuff. So I like the fact that they're talking about the occasion. So yeah, that's really cool. Hinata heading the ball. I said during the reaction, I don't know how he did that, because surely the angle of when the ball was over, right, if you're hitting the ball there, right, I suppose it was just past, so I guess he just went, you know what I mean, he just stretched out his head, I suppose, because he was using his right hand, wasn't it? So it's not like the ball was completely out of reach. So I suppose that must have been it. But I don't know, it looked like the way it was drawn, it looked like the ball was way out of reach of his head, but he managed to do it, and he managed to get it in as well. God, that's crazy. It's interesting that, because that was one of the things that, like, with volleyball, I was never sure of whether or not that was against the rules or not, like certain body parts like not being able to be touched, but like, it looks like you can just use any body part you want as long as it stays off the floor. You know, I know that they did that whole thing with Nishinoya when he obviously kicked the ball, didn't he? Because he was out of reach, and he just had to, like, you know, maneuver his leg all the way over there to get it to bounce up. So yeah, I mean, I remember that as well. But yeah, it's just another example of it. And then Yamaguchi getting some time and doing it well. So yeah, I mean, he really needed that, because I felt like, you know, Yamaguchi's definitely been like the longest kind of prospect, like, you know, starting something new, and it taken a while for him to get adjusted to doing the jump float serve and having to be able to be a like, you know, somebody that can actually get you points when you need them. He did get points, but there were a few that he didn't get, you know, and that's what I was talking about. Like, you know, what was it, like I think it was episode 9, when that other kid was like doing jump float serves, and it looked like he was like better at them, like better at doing those than Yamaguchi was. The only reason that was the case was because I think they specifically showed Yamaguchi failing a few times, about as many times as he had succeeded, whereas this guy was just getting them like all the time. But yeah, so he managed to come in, get a couple points. I guess he got one specifically himself. They managed to keep the point the first time, You know, but that's Yamaguchi's thing. Yamaguchi's not going to come in and like hit 10 points in a row. You know what I mean? Like that's not the thing. Like they're generally their whole thing is to come in and be an ace server. So you come in, you get your points, and then you go off. So yeah, it's a very humble position, I feel like, because you have to. Yeah, I mean, you just have to take into account that if that is your position in the team, you're not really going to be playing that much. You know, you're going to be playing a couple minutes, maybe, you know, of the whole match. So it's a very humble position to be in, and I like Yamaguchi. So yeah, and then yeah, Kageyama's really, really good now, and that means we can go on and win this match. I feel like Suba's going to struggle now, you know, but we'll see if they have anything else up their sleeve. But yeah, with Kageyama on form like that, I don't know how they're going to work against that quick. Because they haven't really talked about whether they're good at blocks or not, just their serves. So we'll see how they handle it. But yeah, that is all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below I've linked to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there and ask questions if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well, so if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, like early access, $5 a month gives you access to shows a week early. And you can get access to all of Hunter x Hunter as well. So if you want all of like the rest of that while it's coming out, then you know you can go watch all of them right now if you want. And there's also $10 there for full length if you want to watch any of these shows in full, as opposed to the 10-minute cut version. Then you can do with that. There's also other tiers where you can pay to have a show reacted to as well. So if you want me to react to a show, go look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.